Welcome to C-Suite Sherpas, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. I'm your host, Ron Partridge. I'm excited to have with us today Chad Miller, founder of Life Abundant Leadership. Welcome, Chad.
Thank you. Glad to be here with you today.
Awesome. So Life Abundant Leadership uses multiple assessments and programs to help organizations improve culture, resulting in increased performance and really helping them overcoming the people challenges that hinder company growth, such as turnover. And of course, Chad will dive much deeper into that. So if you're ready, Chad, we'll dive in.
Let's do it.
All right. Can you give us a snapshot of what your business is and the major outcomes that you actually get for your clients?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, my business, Life Abundant Leadership, I work with upper small to mid-sized businesses. So that'd be like 5 million to 100 million, roughly 15 to 500 employees. And I help them create and sustain outstanding workplaces for increased business success. So you mentioned the results we're looking for, and I break those down at the highest level really to two things: raising revenue and raising profits. So that's raising their top line and raising their bottom line. And I think we'll be getting more into how we do that as we go through. But yeah, at the highest level, that's what it's all about, helping them create those award-winning workplaces to dominate their industries and grow their businesses. And create places where both they as leaders and their employees love working there as well.
That's awesome. And as you know, being an executive in my past life, that's a huge component for success. In fact, it's a necessary prerequisite component for success.
Yeah, it is. It's really what got me into what I do is, what motivates and drives me, my why, if you will, is I love helping people grow and thrive. I also love learning. And I worked in the San Francisco Bay Area for 13 years or so. And I saw firsthand the difference that a great boss, a great team, and a great culture can have, both on the quality of life for the people involved, but also for the business performance. Like, it's not just that better work experience, it's those companies perform better, they do better. That's where you have these outstanding companies that are, making, like Netflix, almost 3 million in revenue per employee. Really high levels of performance, high levels of engagement. And I did a master's in org leadership while I was working in tech. And that was what, as I learned all the different things that could help leaders grow their businesses, create high performing teams, great cultures. I just loved everything that I was learning. And that was what motivated me to start the consulting business to help other companies do that so they can achieve those results.
Yeah, without naming names or companies, do you have any examples of where you've actually helped somebody achieve this kind of level of culture within their company and the impact that that really had on the bottom line?
Yeah, so one example I like to use, they were a good company. They were profitable. They were, like I say, a good company, healthy, running well, but they wanted to go good to great. And so they implemented this culture program that I use. And after 8 years of having that culture program in place, they 3x revenue, 10x profitability, and became the best place to work in their city 2 years in a row. And their CEO would say, obviously, the 3x revenue, 10x profitability, that had to do with the culture program, obviously other things as well that helped them achieve that kind of growth. But he would say that best place to work in their city, he was like, that's 100% because of this culture program. Help them achieve, take that step, good to great, and get great business performance while doing it.
Yeah, you mentioned you had a master's degree in org. Is that what sets your business apart, or is there other approaches that kind of set you apart from other people that do similar things?
Yeah, what I would say sets me apart, one is the people focus. When people hear what I do, they say, "Oh, you're a business coach." And I'm not a big fan of that term anyways. I say more of a management consultant, HR consultant, leadership and culture consultant, something like that. But one thing that I would say is different is people that do business coaching, a lot of them focus on the tactical side of business. A guy named Patrick Lencioni that's written a lot of great books. He says this is the doing business smart. And what I help companies do is do business healthy. Like Patrick Lencioni, I use a lot of his works. And it's more about the people side of the business, people development, leadership development, team culture. It's that component that I focus on. And I would say fewer people that are doing that as opposed to let me help you develop your marketing strategy or your go to market sales strategy, things like that. I'm focusing on the people side. So I would say that's one differentiator is that people oriented focus. And I would say another differentiator is the number of solutions and breadth of solutions that I bring together to do that. I've partnered with a lot of other companies that have software programs that can help in various different ways. I've gotten a lot of different certifications and various different assessments, and I customize the way that I bring all of these things together to help the companies overcome, as you mentioned, all the people challenges that are going to hold them back. Customized solution, bringing together lots of brilliant other resources that brilliant leaders have created, these great companies, great tools, great technology, and I'll help companies bring that all together in a consulting partnership. I would say the third differentiator is that partnership that I want to develop, where I'm seen as like basically like a fractional resource within the company, within the leadership team to help them shape that culture and environment that they want to have, building that partnership over time and really being a part of their team and helping them get the success and results.
That's awesome. So you mentioned, Patrick, how big of a role does a vulnerability-based trust culture play into the success of an organization?
As he would say, and as it sounds like those things, obviously they're key. So one of his books is called The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. And the number one dysfunction is lack of trust. That's foundational for everything else that you're going to do. And I work with organizations on things like growing resilience and psychological safety in the workplace. All of that boils back down to trust. If employees don't trust their teammates, don't trust their leadership, they're not going to perform well. They're not going to engage. There's going to be all kinds of negative conflict, which, by the way, one of his other dysfunctions is avoidance of conflict. Some companies think that conflict is a bad thing. It actually can be a good thing and a productive thing. You just need to do it well. Not have all the negative conflict about stuff that's not going to matter and not going to change things, but engage in healthy and productive conflict about things that will drive innovation and will drive productivity. So, yeah, trust is key, and helping companies foster that within their organization is part of what I do. And how do you build that into, again, systems and rituals so that it's not just saying like, hey, we value these things, but put it on posters on the wall or the employee handbook. But it's like, no, how are you reinforcing that on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis throughout your organization? And all that comes down to building in systems and rituals that reinforce those things.
How do you help the leaders of a company deal with people that just don't want to change, right? Or are very resistant to change? How do you help them through that?
Yeah, so I would say they set the vision and the expectation. That needs to be done all the way from the start of somebody's employment with the company, all the way to the hiring and onboarding, being very clear about expectations. And this is how we behave. And this is where, when I talk about systems and rituals that drive culture, it goes into everything from the hiring process, onboarding, recognition, performance management, throughout the whole life cycle of the employee, building these things in. So they set that expectation right at the start. That's the first key. And then as they get into the employment relationship, then it becomes very clear to go back to, this is the expectation that we set. We let you know this is what we're about. This is how we behave. This is who we are. Then the employee can recognize and see where they're not aligning to that, so that some of the accountability is on them, not just on the leader to say, oh, you're not performing, they can see that. But then it comes down to once that expectation has been set, having accountability. So one of the other dysfunctions that Patrick Lencioni talks about is a lack of accountability. And so it's about helping the leader hold the people to that accountability to say, this is what our expectations were. Either you need to get on board with this, or maybe this is not the right place for you to work. And so, there's a saying, be slow to hire, quick to fire. You want to be working with people. But at the end of the day, if people are going to self-select and say, nope, I'm not willing to change, or I'm not on board for that vision, then they basically self-selected and said, this is not the place for me. And then we want to embrace that and let people know, if this is ever not the right place for you to work, we want to bless you and send you on with the best of intentions to where you can find fit that is right for you. And we want to attract and retain the people that are on board for our vision and where we're going. The leaders have got to hold that line and accountability, and they've got to start it with clear expectations up front.
Great. All right, now I'm going to change it up a little bit. So I want to give our viewers a chance to get to know you a little bit differently, maybe a little more personally, but not too personally. So if you're ready, we'll do a lightning round.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Neither.
Water?
Water, juices. I water down a lot of juice because it's too much sugar, but I like the juice, so I just drink water.
Nice.
I like craft beer as well.
Yeah. Cats or dogs?
Yeah. Dogs, definitely, hands down.
Oh, nice. Favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
So I would say, like, one of my keys to success is live on purpose with passion and persistence.
Nice. Favorite movie or streaming series?
I'll say one we're watching right now, season 2 of, I think it's called The Recruit, just came out on Netflix, sort of a CIA operative or whatever. So that's one we're watching right now, The Recruit on Netflix.
Okay. Favorite book?
Again, I'm bad at favorites, but also one I like to say is Servant Leadership in Action. And what I like about that one is it's not just one author, it's 40 different authors. Each one wrote a different chapter. Each chapter functions on its own. One of the editors of that book says, I call that my toilet book because you can read each chapter independently on the toilet. So I thought that that was funny. Lots of great leaders from the business world, the scholar world, everything coming together in one book, Servant Leadership in Action.
I like that one. I'm going to have to look at that one. All right. Last question, and it's a two-part question. So one bucket list item that you have already accomplished and one bucket list item that you have not yet accomplished.
A bucket list item that I've not accomplished is to climb the nose of El Cap. I'm a rock climber. I have climbed Half Dome. I've climbed towers in Utah, but I've not climbed, and I've climbed on the same wall as El Cap, just not the nose and not the full 3,000 feet. That's a bucket list item I've not accomplished. I guess with that, things I have accomplished, like I say, climbed Half Dome, towers in Utah, climbed on 3 different continents, in Kenya, in Spain. So those are some fun things.
All right. So the most important question, if our viewers would like to collaborate with you or get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Chad Miller, Life Abundant Leadership on LinkedIn. My website's lifeabundantleadership.com, but Chad at lifeabundantleadership.com.
All right. Great. Chad, thank you for your insights, and we're glad you came on so we could get to know you and your company. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a great afternoon.
You too.